Good evening, everyone. This is Jon Lancelot, and this is a special report tonight. And we have a very special guest, Geoffery Ginter. And let me tell you, this guy to me right now, he's an American hero. He is the example of what an American citizen is supposed to do in our society: stand up and speak truth to power. And we have him on tonight because in our country, we're facing a lot of odds that we need to overcome. What we're trying to do today is bring a new deal to America. We want people to understand that we need a Green New Deal because we have new industries and we have a lot of people that need to be employed. We need federal jobs guaranteed from Congress. But what Geoffery has done is that he has exposed the inability or just the lack of will to help the American people achieve their potential. And so we're here tonight because we want to hear from Geoffery's perspective, because I believe he's a very wise gentleman, and he's going to tell us tonight about everything that he experienced that night and his outlook and where we're going to go. So, Geoffery,
Yes, sir.
say hello to the crowd tonight.
Hi.
Yeah, and I think that some people are saying that there's no audio, and hopefully that there is audio. But speak, and then we'll see what they say. Tell us about yourself, Geoffery.
There's not that much to tell. I'm a medical assistant. I know that there are some places on the internet that mistakenly called me a doctor. I'm not. I'm a medical assistant. I do have medical training. It's limited. I have been around incredible professionals, and I do have a strong working knowledge of the system as it is, the insurance industry, as well as health in general. But I'm not a doctor. I think it's important that that be understood. Something just popped up there.
Yep.
I can hear you both. Okay, fantastic.
Great.
I'm a father, a stepfather, but they're my kids, as far as I'm concerned. I have the most beautiful wife, the love of my life. I was born in North Carolina. I was raised in Montreal, and I spent most of my adult life in the States, 16 years in Vermont, and going on 7 years here in New Jersey. That's really all there is to know. I'm a musician as well. If you want to go into
Yeah, for musicians.
Absolutely. Music was a huge part of my life growing up. Youngest of 5 kids. I don't know. It's pretty typical, pretty standard. My parents were teachers. They were university professors. So even though I did not like high school, and one tends to rebel against your parents and you don't do what they did, I did develop a strong passion for learning and education. And from my very earliest memory, I wanted to be a doctor until I discovered that, girls love guys with guitars. So I put kibosh on that. Thrilled to discover that I could have a second chance. Once I became a family man, I had to put childish things aside and do something with growth and potential and reliability. So I got into healthcare, and I was able to be a medical assistant. I was thrilled. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing, and it's still amazing. I love doing what I do. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. That's what I do.
That's awesome, man. And basically, when you stood up to the congressman, Representative MacArthur,
Yeah.
and you were at that town hall, which was televised, and I was watching it. And when you stepped up and you were telling him basically what he's not doing in such a way that inspired the world to reach out to you, tell us about that moment. Tell us about how you felt and what you were trying to get across.
I was angry. I'm still angry, which is not a comfortable feeling for me. I believe in love. My overarching philosophy of life has to do with love.
Right on.
Life is not worth living without it. I personally believe that if every action you take is with a loving perspective, then everything will work out for the best, even if it's not the way you planned. But I went to his original town hall in Waretown. And I didn't know much about him. We had the election, and I had actually been off of Facebook for a while. Family man, it was taking a lot of my time, and I wanted to do, more things, with the kids and with my wife. And then the election came, and the back of my head just blew off. The front of my head, the sides of my head. And I marinated in that despair and that anxiety for about a week, and then I got on and I wrote a tirade that got some of the poison out. Just getting it down on paper and posting it. It helped. It helped to deal with it. Writing helped to clarify some of what I was thinking and some of what I was feeling. And I do it periodically still, just to crystallize what I'm thinking. It's almost a meditation. Then I started getting involved with local groups. I'm a member of Indivisible, New Jersey 3rd, as well as Our Revolution. And it was heartwarming, to discover how many people locally felt the way that I did. So we got to work, and shortly after I joined that organization, we had been pressuring MacArthur to have a town hall, and he was refusing. He was refusing, didn't want it to be hijacked, thought they were paid protesters, still waiting for my check. He was looking to people like, Jason Chaffetz in Utah, and the horrible time that he had, said it was just not going to be productive, so he wasn't going to do it. Held teletown halls so that he could field his questions and be able to shut them up once they're done, read whatever prepared response he wanted. Not to mention the fact, that when you tell a town hall, you got on your staff, and so it's not really a proper way to interact with your congressman. But that was the best he was offering. But he did finally, on a Friday, announce that the following Monday, with 3 days' notice, that he was going to hold a town hall in the lowest, bottom right-hand corner of his district, very large district, New Jersey 3rd. So unless you were local to that area, everyone had to travel a long way if they wanted to show up. Also had on that very same day in that very same venue, the town hall starts at 6:30, in that same venue, 5 o'clock, he held a pro-MacArthur rally. Do you think any of those people that attended that pro rally left? No. He basically preloaded right when he got there. I took half a day off work so I could make sure I was there. But I didn't know anything about him that much. I mean, I'd seen his voting record, and pre-Trump, much ado about nothing. There really wasn't that much about healthcare that he was voting on, not much about education that he was voting on, not even that much about the environment. It was all puff for the most part. Post-Trump, release the hounds. He's not exactly the moderate he claims. He's not even close.
They're never that moderate. They say moderate, and then they're just something else.
Yeah, exactly. What does moderate mean to anyone anymore? I don't even understand what it means. Do you say you're a moderate, but then you show us something else? So I went there, and he talks a very reasonable line. He wants things to be civil. He wants things to be orderly. He wants to have you ask a question nicely, sit down, he'll answer it, we'll move on. He wants to give you a feel-good answer. And I was already burning mad, but I don't like being mad. I don't like being that way. But when I got up in front of him that time, my big problem was Trump and his taxes. And MacArthur had voted against having Congress force him to release his taxes. And I told him that vote made me very upset, and I was angry. I wasn't yelling. It wasn't like it was in Willenboro.
It was
I'm
masterful.
angry, but I wasn't trying to get. Yeah,
it was definitely masterful.
Yeah, so I was aggressive because I was angry, and because he did something that I fundamentally thought was just wrong. How can you not look at someone like Donald Trump and imagine that he's like anything we've ever seen before? You know, how can you see his wealth, such as it is, and the enormous influence he has all over the world, all the business dealings, and not be concerned that he has conflicts of interest just by virtue of who he is? So it angered me. I was upset at him. I was upset at MacArthur for voting no. And he said the reason he did it because even though he thinks he should release his tax returns, he doesn't think it's Congress's job to force him, which is a non-answer, you know, because Congress has oversight of the White House. If they didn't, there would be no such thing as an impeachment. So, but then I heard everything else that he was saying. You know, he's trying to sound reasonable, and he told us that that healthcare was too complicated, that he would not vote in January to just simply dissolve the ACA because he thought, well, we're going too fast. It's very complicated. It's going to take more than a few months to unravel this and to do what's right. Except it took him 3 goddamn weeks to take, you know, that statement and make a lie out of it. He was the only member of the New Jersey congressional delegation to be willing on camera saying, yes, I can vote for this. It's not a perfect bill. I can't even get my brain around that. Not a perfect bill. I'm making it sound like it's almost there, but there's a few problems with it. It was the most ridiculous bill imaginable, designed to kill us. You know, the ACA already is not perfect. The ACA is already predicated on a notion that you need to be bought and sold by an insurance company. That whether you live or die is not important in and of itself as long as we've made our money. And I'm fundamentally done with that. If anyone argues for an insurance-based healthcare system, you are immoral, and I am done with you. You have no value to me as a politician. You may as well go home. I will raise an army, and I will fight you to the end, to the death. I'm done with people like him.
Absolutely.
So I was angry in Waretown. I was furious in Willenboro. And the answers he was giving for the first 3 hours were woeful, absolutely woeful. And he still was insisting on civility. Civility is predicated on a notion that both parties involved are going to operate in good faith. Your position as a congressman buys you nothing past your first 5 minutes. In your first 5 minutes in the first meeting, you've done nothing yet. Your position alone gets you respect. Gets you respect, whoever you are. Regardless of your station, regardless of your wealth, regardless of your status. Everyone is worthy of respect until they are no longer worthy of respect. And a congressman is no different. And he lost our respect. And he was still expecting that we would treat him as if we had some for him. Civility is predicated on the idea, the notion of good faith. And he proved to us, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he is not operating in good faith. So he gets no civility. So I have no problems yelling at him. I have no problem. Now, if it was just a question of, you know, you did some bad things and I don't really like what you did and it's going to have bad effects, maybe I wouldn't have yelled. But his problem is that his mistakes, the things that he stood up for, the things that he showed us that he believes in, what he stands for is our deaths. As long as he gets profit, doesn't matter for the rest of it. And he wants to up on the stories that he tells about his background, about his mother and his daughter, both of which I believe. I believe he was heartbroken over his daughter. I believe that he saw his father suffer. I don't know what he thought about it. I don't know what he thought about it at the time. But I believe that he suffered. I believe that he loved his daughter. I don't believe for a second that he learned the lessons that they were trying to teach him, that those situations should have taught him. Because no matter how you slice it, he has designed a system. He has propped up a system and then put in amendments to make it even worse, just to bring the worst of society on board with him so that he can make a name for himself. He has designed a system guaranteed to make other families suffer as he did. Like a petulant child. I suffered, now everyone will suffer. And ergo, I have no respect for him. None. For all the sympathy I may have for what he went through, I have no respect for him. Because he has hurt us, his constituents, and the entire country. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was feeling. I wasn't thinking that I was addressing the world. I wasn't thinking that I was addressing anything other than, I don't want to use the word enemy,
Right. I mean,
I don't want to have enemies, but he has done something that has put him in direct opposition. Him and anyone that looks or smells like his ideology are in direct opposition to the good of this country. And it has to stop. And it will stop when we all stand up. It can't be just me. It has to be everyone. I've had literally thousands of people make comments saying they want me to run. I have had hundreds of people email me directly. They share so many stories. And I didn't ask for that. I'm not complaining. Just keep sending them. I'm beyond touched.
Absolutely.
But be me, not just me.
I like the idea of you running. I really like that idea. I don't have any respect for, I don't know what kind of human being, goes to Congress, one of the most important positions in our society.
Yes.
And just stand there in front of people and just nickel and dime them and just tell them things that they think they want to hear and just what's going through these people's minds? I mean, it's almost sociopathic.
It is, and I'm not going to stand here. Well, technically, I'm sitting. I'm not going to sit here and claim in any way, shape, or form that everyone in the House of Representatives and the Senate are sociopaths. Far from. We have many, many good public servants, but they are up against a system that will not allow them to succeed. When Obama ran in 2008, I love President Obama. There was a lot of disagreement, harder, especially in the beginning. But I love him. I have the utmost respect for him. And when he ran, again, it was a fantastic dinner. When he ran, he said, yes, we can. Yes, we can. And we all chanted along with him. Yes, we can. Can we make a better future? Yes, we can. But we didn't. Because once he was inaugurated, we all said, bye-bye. You got this, right? You got this, right? You got this. You don't need us. He didn't let us down. We let him down. It's yes, we can. If we keep looking, as I did my entire life, I'm 47 years old. I've always been politically aware, but I've never really been politically active. And that's on me. That's my fault. But for everyone else that was also not politically engaged prior to this, can I call it an election? It was really more like a rape. You know, people were not politically active. Clearly, not everyone. There are numerous examples of people who were. But as a nation, we did not stand up with them. We did not stand with them. We did not march in the streets. The women's march that we had after the election was magnificent. I took my daughter to that in Asbury Park. It was the first march. I really wasn't sure what we could expect. And my daughter, really wanted to go. And so I went to the one in Asbury Park, in the hopes that was the least likely to go bad. Thank God nothing went bad. Fantastic. But we needed that on a regular basis, pretty much since the 1980s. And we didn't do it. We allowed ourselves to be complacent. We allowed ourselves to tell the politicians tacitly, without saying it, but with our actions, more specifically our inactions, you got this. Go ahead. Fix it for us. Every 2 years, every 4 years, we keep saying the same things. You got this. You're going to fix this, right? This is wrong, what's going on. So you're going to fix this, right? But they don't. Some of them don't because they don't want to. Some of them don't because they can't. They're up against too much, and they need us. They need us. Ultimately speaking, we don't need them. We don't. But they need us. If you don't like the situation that you're in, and you're tempted to look to your politicians to blame them, congratulations, you should, because they are to blame. God knows they are to blame. And you might want to also look to your media and say they are to blame. God knows they are. A job so many times. Thank God they're waking up now. But they weren't awake before. And that's their fault. But if you were to be able to take the combined culpability of all the corporations, the politicians, and the media and put it all in a mountain, it would be dwarfed by our combined culpability. They can't get anything done if we say no. Not a goddamn thing. Anything that we want, we can make happen as long as we work for it. As long as we're willing to sacrifice for it. Put down the remote. You don't need the TV. You don't have to go shopping every weekend. If you don't get Chanel No. 5, I'm sorry, I don't know what a new perfume is. I'm just going to go back to Chanel No. 5. If you don't have Chanel No. 5, you're still sexy. You're still great. You don't need it.
True.
You don't need these distractions. And I was just as guilty as everyone else. I was the poster boy of guilty. And even worse, because I knew better. I knew better. I knew what was going on. I knew what the fix was. I knew the fix was in, and I didn't do anything. No longer on the sidelines. I am not going to put my trust in a politician. The politicians had better start putting their trust in us. And we goddamn better well live up to it. Because our combined not living up to it has given us Donald J. Trump. Alternative facts. The alt-right. I was hoping, beyond hope, that we were finally getting to a point where we could talk about race relations, that we could talk about social inequality, that we could talk about all of it. We have so much work to do. And it's no surprise because we've been letting it pile up. While we watch the Jersey Shore, we worship at the feet of what have the Kardashians ever done for us? What do we owe them? How did they get rich and famous?
Oh boy, don't even get me started on that.
I don't begrudge anyone 15 minutes. Apparently, I'm having one. I don't understand it, but I'm having one. But if I'm going to have one, I'm going to stand for something. I don't want to be doing this. I want to be with my kids. I want to be with my wife. I didn't want to go to that town hall. That was an hour away. I didn't get to see my kids that evening. I didn't get to see my wife that night. Have any idea what that means to me? But I have to. Because I can't count on someone else doing it for me. Because that has not worked. A lot of people want me to run. Thousands have asked me from all over the world. I am blown away by how far this has gone. And I've come to the conclusion, good. If it leads to good, and I hope it does, and I will be forever humbled that it had anything whatsoever to do with me. But people want me to run, and I don't know if I will. I don't know if I can. I'm a medical assistant. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an economist. I don't know how to do the changes that I want to do. But I do know right from wrong. I do know morality from immorality. The only way that I could run is if there was a team around me. You know how Washington works. You know what policy is. You know how to get it. You're with me. You know how to get me in the proper rooms to talk to the right people. You're with me. You know media. You know how to get the message out. You're with me. If I could get together a good team, people that I believed in, people that I trusted, and who believed in me, it can't be me. But it can be us. And not just the team that I would put together, of which I have no idea who they are. They're out there somewhere.
I'll join. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
But it has to be the constituency as well. And the country. Because that's something that MacArthur does not understand. What most people in the House of Representatives and the Senate don't understand. What you call your constituency on camera, your actual constituency seems to be mostly corporations and an insurance company, but the people that you call your constituency merely represent the only people capable of doing anything about you. You know, if I'm a mayor or I'm council, yeah, the things that I do are pretty much only going to affect the people in my town, not outside that. But as you move up to the state legislature, to the House of Representatives, Senate, the presidency, your decisions, your choices, your votes no longer simply affect the people of your constituency. They affect the entire nation. That's why I was so pissed off when MacArthur just went, charge! I got an amendment here. I'm going to fix this health care bill. By fix, I mean get it through so that his precious insurance company will be saved. He flew in the face of the entire country, minus 17%. 17% of the people thought it was a good idea. And I can't speak to what those 17% were thinking. I'm not going to have anything good nor bad to say about them. They are Americans, and God love them. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know these people individually. But there were only 17% of them. The whole rest of the country said, no, this is horrible. The Congressional Budget Office said it was horrible. They didn't use those words. They just simply showed us what it was going to do and let it speak for itself. Horrible. And he didn't pause. He did not pause. He does not, and no one in the House of Representatives truly only represents their constituency.
You know, like
it's their first priority. But
I wanted to elaborate because you had a very good word about this when we had our conversation before.
Yeah.
About you know, members of Congress, and they have like these interests within their districts, whether they're gerrymandered or whatnot. But
Yes.
they don't realize, or it's not realized that they're affecting the whole country and the whole world. Can you speak to that?
The first thing I would say about that, take all the things that you as an individual may be passionate about. For me, they are legion. So many things that I would want to do, and we need to, and we can't wait. We can't just simply go one and then one and then one and then one. We have to start doing 2 at a time, 3 at a time, because we're Americans, because we're exceptional that way, and because we don't have the time. But none of them are going to get done until we eliminate, as a matter of law, money from politics. It needs to be illegal to donate money to candidates and to campaigns. It needs to be. No more super PACs, no more commercials. They must be publicly funded through tax dollars, and it doesn't have to be that much, because you don't have to pay that much just for airtime. All you need is a candidate and a camera. Put it on TV, put it on the radio, let them pay for their own billboards with tax dollars, let them get their message out. I don't need the message of ExxonMobil. I don't need the message of the Koch brothers. I need the message of the candidate that I am supposed to be considering. And that's it. And only then will we be able to have even the shred of a chance of saving our democracy. Because right now we're at a crisis. We have good reason not to trust our own elections. If you can't trust the veracity of the candidates that you're hoping to vote for, have no hope of trusting that they actually care about what they say. They may tell you that they care about healthcare and about education and about the environment, and they may tell you to the degree that which they care about these things, and that's all well and good on the campaign trail. But then what happens when they actually get elected into office? Well, very little. Sometimes it goes the other way, because they didn't really believe what they said, or because they were up against too many external forces. We're all up against something, and we have to recognize it, and we have to do something about it. We have to stand up and demand it. Don't ask. This is our country. We don't have to ask to have faith in our elections. We don't have to ask that we should have candidates that are righteous, that believe what they say. We don't have to ask. We demand it. It is our right. It is our birthright. Wars were fought. Wars where millions of people died. Wars were fought for this fundamental principle of freedom. Not freedom in the way that the Freedom Caucus believes. Freedom Caucus wants everyone to be free. Do what you want. No consequences. Don't take anything from me. I am not responsible for you. That's not freedom. That's chaos. That's anarchy. Freedom comes when you can be who you are. Unafraid, in the light of day, in front of your brothers and sisters, in front of your parents, in front of your friends. This is who I am. That's freedom. And from that freedom, we get everything else. If we get health care, worry about if we get sick. We don't have to worry if we lose our job. Am I going to be able to take care of my family? Freedom is what we're all about. But a freedom that says, I'm going to take care of you. And yes, I'm looking at you, Tom MacArthur. I'm going to take care of you. Not in 2018. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I'm going to take care of you because you should be taken care of. Because you're going to take care of me. We are subject to one another. We owe each other that. I am my brother's keeper and my sister's keeper and your brother's keeper. I am everyone's brother's keeper, and so are you. If we do that, then we have the freedom that we need, because we have the freedom from fear, the freedom to do what we want with this incredible gift of a life, free from the fear of intimidation, free from the fear of persecution, free from the fear of lack. We will have enough by virtue of who we are, of the fact that we live and we exist, and we can continue to explore life and love. That's freedom. And we can have that. We can if we all stand up. Each and every one of us, every day.
Everyone.
Reaffirm that. Everyone. Teach it to your children from day one. Talk to your neighbors. Know your neighbors. I know a few of them. I'm getting to know more. I cannot overemphasize. I was the most guilty of all of us. I lived my life. I tried to make it a good life. I tried to be a good person. But it was an insular experience. And that needs to change. We're social beings. And we take care of one another. If we don't, then we deserve what we get. If we do, we also deserve what we get. It's our choice. And we need to exercise that choice. Do we choose love? Do we choose fear? Do we choose hope or despair? It's a choice, and you get to make it every second of every day. That's what I believe in. It's what I've always believed in, but now it's time to live it. It's never been more important. And don't be afraid of being angry. There was a time and a place for anger. I am not ashamed of yelling at that man. That man wants civility, but that man has not earned civility.
You know, it's funny. You're right. You know, this whole talk about civility,
Yeah.
it boggles my mind, because the things that they're doing, they're basically killing people by proxy. They're not being civil, but they're asking us that we see our friends and our family dying because they don't have health care, and they're asking us to be civil about it. Be civil about what?
Exactly. You're basically telling me that I'm not worthy, you know, because the Republicans have said this in a wide variety of ways. If you're sick, it's your fault. If you're sick, you should be paying more for your health care. Well, to hell with you. I'm sorry. You know, I'm supposed to hear that and be okay with it and be civil with you when I discuss things with you? No. You have not earned civility, because civility is predicated on the idea of mutual respect and mutual understanding, that we come together in good faith. And they do not operate in good faith because they clearly don't care. They care about their money. They want their money back. They hate that we ever had the New Deal of the 1930s. They hate that we had the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s. They've been grabbing back more and more and more because they feel it's their right. For all the entitlement program, the greatest entitlement program is their greed. They feel entitled to having everything. Everything. It all belongs to them.
And you know what? Like, absolutely, it sort of invalidates the reason why we had the American Revolution.
Yes.
It invalidates it. Because, you know, and I really appreciate what you're saying, because I've been saying this till I'm blue in the face. People don't seem to want to absorb it because they're all caught up. But it's it's authoritarian. It's basically deconstructionism.
Yes,
They're trying to
absolutely.
deconstruct our healthcare and our lives, and for what to what end? We could go over that all night, but
Yeah.
it's maddening. Basically, with that night, you're saying the way I felt the whole time, and it just seemed like he wasn't hearing any of it. He just wanted to, talk about
He wants it
healthcare
to be,
like a machine.
yeah. He just wanted the whole thing to be over. Now, I don't have hope for MacArthur, and I hope I'm wrong, because redemption is out there. Anyone can redeem themselves, but they have to want it. And to the degree that they need that redemption, is they're going to have to work proportionately as hard. I do not envy someone like MacArthur if he seeks redemption, because it's not going to come easy. It's not going to come cheap. It's not going to come quick. But I like to see the best in people. I like to hope for the best. I like to be optimistic for the future, because we still have time. We can still reclaim our culture, our country. We can still cultivate a culture of brotherhood where we all come together for the benefit of each other. No more of this pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps. That's done. That's been tried, and it's led to this concept that you have to do it yourself. You bare hands. Well, that never happens, no matter what. No one builds a building on their own, Donald J. Trump. You didn't build Trump Tower. You put your name on it. You had something to do with it, but you didn't build it. And you would never have been able to build it without police officers to protect it, fire departments to help you if anything went wrong, local hospitals when things did go wrong, construction crews that built the roads and the infrastructure to be able to do it, the education system that educated the workforce to allow you to do that. You did nothing on your own. We need each other. And it's time we started valuing each other. It's time we started looking to ourselves and realizing, what can I offer? What can I do? And seeing the possibilities therein. Everyone has value. I'm waking up to that idea. I would never have thought I had value, that anyone would ever want to hear what I had to say. And apparently they do. So I'm very happy to have a platform, but if I'm going to have this platform, I want to tell people, wake up. I'm beyond flattered that you care about what I have to say, but I want to hear what you have to say. I had a platform, I had an opportunity, and I took it, and it wasn't hard for me. The hardest thing for me was being angry. I don't like that, but telling him what I told him, that was easy. Taking the opportunity to do that was easy. So I really can't take credit for it. It's like someone seeing you walk and they're so impressed that you walked. And I do it every day. And I would do it again. But I'm really impressed with other people. I'm touched that people took the time to write to me. And in their writing to me, they share stories with me and the extraordinary things they tell me. There's so much good in this world. There's so much of it. And we have been taught to ignore it. We have been blinded to it by design, by an economic system that wants to turn us into indentured servants. by a corporate media that wants us to be blinded by lust for the things that we should be possessing, and therefore work our butts off to be able to afford, before we even have a chance to form the thought, do I need that? I better put in some overtime so I can afford that. Well, then they made an economic system that where we're no longer really working to be able to afford that, so much as we're being able to afford food.
And we can afford it if Congress, if congressmen like MacArthur actually used their power.
Yeah.
We could rebuild America. Federal jobs guarantee. We could,
Yeah.
but we pay for wars basically.
Exactly.
That
There's always money for wars,
but there's never money for the American people. But it's there.
We dropped the mother of all bombs. See, that was wonderful. The mother of all bombs. What a wonderful name for an ordinance. I know it's not its technical name, but it's just, it's insulting. It's indecent that we would put that much money into that much destruction. When there's so many things that need fixing here and all over the world. Just the food system in this country. They talk about how it's our fault if we get sick. We have a childhood obesity problem, diabetics, and high blood pressure in high school. Does anyone honestly think that kids just suddenly got lazy? No, it doesn't happen that way. They have been slowly pushing crack in the form of sugar and salts and fats into our foods. It's messing with us. It is altering things. But it's making us want it. It's making us want it so bad. And they don't care as long as we keep buying it. And the government keeps subsidizing it. There are reasons why you can have a Wendy's with a 4-for-4 meal, but it costs you incredible amounts of money to eat healthy. My wife and I just recently became vegans. I thought I was going to die. I didn't have any kind of disease. I wasn't sick. I didn't have the flu. I was just feeling progressively worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And thought for sure, this is it. I'm going to die. I'm 47, and in about 5 to 10 years, and that's just it. And I immediately got off all candies. I immediately got off sugar. I got off sodas. My wife and I have been thinking about going vegan. We did it. We almost tripled our grocery bill. Almost tripled that. And we finally come up to a solution where I think we might be able to just double it. Maybe. But you're expecting someone who's making $15,000 a year to choose that as opposed to what's cheap and easy and tastes wonderful. But it's that person's fault. They didn't create the economic system. They didn't create the disparity. They didn't create the gap between the haves and the have-nots. They didn't vote to put subsidies on food to make sure that it's nice, cheap, affordable, and poison. They didn't make that choice. And the powers that be in Washington don't want you to know about it. There's no mass
They don't want us to know about. I mean, right now, I'm doing loads of work with economists to our modern monetary theory, which is the vehicle we're going to use to not only change our own economy, but the economy of the world. Because neoliberalism, not only have they created all sorts of trouble in the world, but now they're bringing that Washington consensus economics back to the United States, and they're basically just like what you're saying. They're telling us untruths, and they're saying, this is how the economics work, and we should be scared of deficits when governments are designed to do it, and we could basically change our world by an act of Congress.
Exactly.
They don't want
economics work the way we say it works.
Right.
This is not the first economic system that's ever come up in the world. There are other economic systems that can exist. This is not the be-all, end-all of economics. We're not at the end of history. And for so long as we're not at the end of history, we're not at the end of economic possibility. So for those that say we can't do it any other way, there's this reason, there's that reason, you're lazy.
Absolutely freaking lazy.
You're lazy. You're
absolutely
lazy. Or you're bought off.
Absolutely lazy. There's a lot of lazy thinking out there. There's a lot of, just people who don't want to do the work. And what you proved is that citizens can make a difference. One citizen could make a huge impact, not only on the town that you live in, not only in the country, but in the world. I mean, if you have people contacting you from around the world, you know that you've made an impact. And that's very impressive, because the way they are in Washington, D.C., they want to make you feel that you can't make a difference. And
absolutely.
Because
if I did, there'd be a threat to them.
Absolutely.
And if one citizen can make that difference, imagine what 10 citizens can do. 100, 1,000, 1,000,000. Everyone, stand up. Stand up.
Talk to your neighbors about it. Talk to your neighbors. Let them know what's going on. Get them to the town councils. I know in New Jersey, I mean, we could talk forever about New Jersey politics, but I want you to tell the audience your thoughts on the politics of New Jersey and, what we deal with here on an everyday basis.
Well, again, I'm not really the person that you want to go to for New Jersey politics. When I first got here, I fell immediately into marriage and kids and a job. And I went to sleep. I went to sleep in marital bliss. So locally, I don't know that much, which is why I would never run for local town council. Not because I don't look around and see where I've got problems, but because I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to fix the infrastructure of Pine Beach. I don't know anything about the educational budget. And when you're at that level, it's just you. There's just you on the town council. You don't have a staff. That's why if I were to run for anything, it would have to be something higher up, something where I would be part of a team. I may be the face of the team. I may be the one that makes the final decision. I may be the one that sets the agenda and sets the goals. Being the one that was elected, that's my job. I'm the vision. But someone else would have to be the one to fill in the details. Can't do that on a town council. If I have to be the vision and the details, you don't want me. I may have the vision, and I like to think that I have the integrity, but I don't have the inner knowledge of the workings of how that works. I don't even know how to run for Congress. I don't know how to run for anything. I can run around the block. That's all I know about running.
Well, you definitely, if you're ever interested, there's people out here, including myself, that could put you, and show you how it's done. It's simpler than you think, but the hard part is getting the right people with you that believe in the same thing that you believe in.
Yeah.
You can actually bring your vision to life. Yeah. And, the town council is a different skill set than someone in Congress, because you're dealing with different variables. So like those who say, well, you have to start at town council first and work your way up, that's total bull crap.
Yeah. Well, it certainly guarantees that by the time you get to Congress, you're going to get a certain kind of person, and only a certain kind of person. Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
And we definitely need less of that. We need less of the same.
Absolutely.
So first things first, we need people that are going to run that are for single payer. You have to be for single payer if you want my vote. If you're not for single payer, next. You have no value to me. And you have to be for campaign finance reform, and not anything less than no more contributions from corporations. Publicly funded elections. It's quite simple. Money is speech? Really? Can't be, because the concept of one citizen, one vote guarantees that the Koch brothers have more speech than I do, than you do, than anyone does.
Yeah, that's a lot of breath.
It's fundamentally anathema to democracy.
Definitely, that's a lot of breath. If they, money is speech, it's like most of us are breathless.
Yes, exactly. Corporations are not and cannot be people. They can be people who can vote, but that's it. You know, if I call up my congressman, he's not going to pick up the phone. And I know this because I've called my congressman and he does not pick up the phone. He does not respond to emails. He does not respond to letters sent or faxes. I get the form letter that is worthless. It's the only value the form letter has, or in this case the email, is if I print it out and use it in the bathroom. That's the only value it has because it does not address anything. It does not, it addresses what I wrote him about, but that's it. That's as far into it as it gets, because after that, he just tells me what it is. Thank you. I know what it is. I wrote you about it. And he tells me that he can't do anything about it until it's out of committee. And then he tells me that he's looking forward to taking my opinion into consideration. Well, he never does. He keeps talking about threading a needle. Well, here's the needle. Here's where the thread's supposed to go, but the thread in MacArthur's hand goes that way. He absolutely does not care about people that look, feel, smell, or vote as I do. He cares about people that already agree with him, whether it's blindly or with any kind of thought. That's who he cares about. And to the degree that he will answer any of their phone calls will be in direct proportion to how much money they've contributed to his campaign.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't be working that way.
And it should not be working that way. And our last minutes of our show, any advice for the citizens of the United States and New Jersey and the world? I would like to hear your wisdom, and everyone else would like to hear as well.
Fight for love. It doesn't matter if we win or not. We have to win. But ultimately speaking, find out who you are. Find out what you believe in. And use that. It's a weapon and a gift. It's a gift to yourself, and it's a weapon to use against the people that would have you not have that knowledge. And then discover how you can use it. But above all, rise. Stand up. Say no. Organize. Go on marches. We need public protest. We need people to gather in one place and say with as loud a voice as possible, no, you cannot do that. Remember, the condition that we are currently in would never have been possible if we hadn't stayed home. And I'm not just talking about this last election. I'm talking about the last one and the one before that and the one before that and the one before that and the one before that. We cannot be an every 2-year activity or an every 4-year activity, which is more like it in this country. The midterms are always pathetic. We have to be an everyday phenomenon. Every day, do something. If the only thing you do is call your congressman to tell them what you think, you've done your job. If that's the only thing you do, congratulations. You are my partner. If you can do more than that, please do. If there are people gathering somewhere for something that you also believe in, join. If no one is gathering and you believe in something, get them out. Do it. You be the voice. I've waited my entire life for someone to save us, for someone to do it for us. Be better than me. Be better than me. I don't know how good I am at this. You tell me. But be better than me. Be better than I have been. Get up. Stand up. Do something. Do anything nonviolent. You are more powerful than you could possibly imagine, and infinitely more powerful than they want you to be. They are not our leaders. They are our oppressors. All of us. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter who you like to sleep with. It doesn't matter. They are not in your camp. And they never have been, and they never will be unless we do something. And if you do believe in your congressman, if you do believe in your state representative, Tell them that you believe it. Because there are numerous examples. Collectively, they're worthless. But individually, there are several that do good work. Tell them they're doing good work. Call them out. They need to hear from you when they're doing good things. That's how they know they did something good. And if they do something wrong, if you respect the person, tell them they did something wrong. Tell them you expect them to fix it, to explain it, and to never do it again. Because they don't work for anyone but you. I don't care who gives them money. They work for you. That's their job. That's what they begged you for. They went round and round. They knocked on doors. They spent money to be able to have this job. Now they got to do it. And they do it in service of all of us. So hold them accountable. Don't accept the answer that they give you. If you agree with their answer, marinate in that for a while. Do you really agree with it? Did they actually answer the question? Did they actually do something that you agree with? Don't be a knee-jerk participant. Don't like what they do just because you liked them yesterday. Their abilities reside within yourself. And just as we choose every second of every day to choose love over fear, we also have to choose and re-choose. Do I still support this candidate? Do I not? They have to earn it every day. They win when they have gotten us to take them for granted. So don't let them. They don't have the power. We have the power. And that's only true if we say it is. And if we do say that it is, if we do it, the sky's the limit. We can have it all. But if we don't believe it, and we don't do it, then you may as well go home. American Idol's on at 8. You know where the remote is.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this interview, and what you have to say.
Thank you.
And we're going to stay in contact, most
Please.
definitely. If you need anything, you can always call me. I'll definitely like to have you back on the show if you're willing to do that when you have time. And,
Absolutely.
And it was excellent, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
And everyone, this is a night for us, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in and watching. Tonight's show was very enlightening. Geoffery is a very inspirational speaker, and he brings new life into our movement. And every one of us, we're important. Doesn't matter how small, doesn't matter what you do. You could do something as small as just feeding someone that's homeless.
Yes.
As I was saying last time. It doesn't have to, you don't have to run for office. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is care about a human being, thrive off of love, and we will conquer. And I do believe that. And also, I'd like to add that if you learn economics the way it's supposed to be in our sovereign monetary system, and we actually run the right candidates in the Congress, just like what Geoffery said, we could have it all.
Yes, we can.
So just with that, I want to say good night, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.